F3 financial strategy looks at how financing supports the overall strategy of the organisation, and therefore it links very nicely with the other strategic level papers. Although there are some overlaps between F3 and F1 and F2, the main overlaps are actually with the other strategic level exams. So although F3 stands at the apex of the financing pillar in the new syllabus, it is to some extent mainly a standalone paper. Let's have a look at the syllabus areas. There are 3 syllabus areas. The first, with a 25% syllabus weighting, looks at the overall financial strategy of a company. So it's going to look at what we're trying to achieve and how you can set into place a structure that's going to help you to achieve those goals. To build your general understanding of this area, as well as reviewing what we provide for you in our course material, it's a very good idea to look out at what's happening in the real world. And you tend to get the best insights on financial strategy when companies are trying to turn themselves around. So it sounds a bit unpleasant, but look out for companies that are struggling and have a look at the financial press to see what they're trying to do about it. Quite a good resource is the BBC website. Here we've got an extract from the BBC Business section of their website, looking at the problems that Tesco is having in 2014 and what they're trying to do about it. So this is a good site, particularly good site for you to look at, and as I say, generally look out for companies that are struggling and trying to deal with their issues. Having discussed what you're trying to achieve, the next syllabus section goes on to look at how you're going to obtain the finance in order to achieve those plans. Normally your plans will involve some investment decisions. These will have to be financed. Are you going to use debt, equity? There are lots of different types of both debt and equity. Are you going to use lease finance? What are the pros and cons of each? How do you go about getting hold of this finance? What is the most suitable type of finance? And as part of that financing decision, how much cash that you have are you going to pay back to shareholders, the dividend decision? Are you going to pay a cash dividend? Are you going to pay a dividend in shares? What's your dividend policy going to be? And again, it helps if you've had a look out at the real world to see what dividend policies and financing policies are being followed. Another good resource for you here is the Reuters website. And the Reuters website is free to access and gives a very good coverage of many household names. Here perhaps, I'm not sure if it's a household name, but it's the UK's biggest house builder, Persimmon, and there's a discussion of their dividend policy, which was revamped in 2012. So again, as well as the technical material, if you can look out and see what's happening in the real world, while it doesn't give you any immediate credit in the exam, it does deepen your knowledge and understanding of the technical material that you're reading about. But the biggest syllabus section looks at corporate finance issues, and within that, the main focus is on mergers and acquisitions. And in F3, we don't really distinguish between mergers and acquisitions. We just mean a takeover of another company. Why do you want to do it? How are you going to value another company? Very important not to overvalue another company and pay too much for them. And post-acquisition, how are you going to integrate the company that you've bought into your group effectively? Those are some of the themes that you're going to look at. But this is the dominant area, and again it's one that's quite easy to follow in the financial press. And again, the Reuters website can be helpful here. They've got a section on mergers and acquisitions, and it's quite a good idea to review this periodically. As with all of your exams, you're sitting an OT exam, an objective test exam, with a 70% pass mark. There will be 60 questions, and they will be weighted as per the syllabus weightings that we've just looked at. So that's quite important. If, for example, you're not a great fan of hedge accounting, just to pick one topic, well, hedge accounting is one part of the formulation of financial strategy, and so you might expect a couple of questions on it in the exam. To pass this paper, you've got to have a good overall understanding. And although it might seem like it's good news that you're only having to do objective test questions rather than longer numerical questions, actually at strategic level the questions are very challenging. Not in terms of having to do difficult numbers, but they will test whether you really understand a topic. Because very often they're going to give you a multiple response question, typically which three of the following 5 statements are true, but they'll structure the question so that many of the statements look true, and you're only going to be able to pick out the 3 that are the most true if you really understand the technical material. And that's going to be true whatever the question type. And it's important to focus on really preparing effectively for this exam. The achievement ladder is going to give you excellent feedback based on questions that are similar to the style of the questions that you're going to see in the real exam, and they'll give you a very good indication of whether you understand the material adequately. Very important to react to the feedback that you're getting from the results of your tests. As I've also mentioned, you'll have a much deeper understanding of the paper if you do some wider reading, and we've already looked at the BBC website and the Reuters website here. So make sure that you've got a good study plan, an effective calendar of events as to how you're going to approach the achievement ladder, and once you've created the plan, do your best to stick to it. Good luck with your F3 studies.